Welcome to Airborne on staugustine.com. I'm Matt Jeffs, bringing interesting people from your world so you can stay dialed into your community and the folks who make it tick. I want to welcome to our studios today Dominic Mercurio. Dominic, how are you?
Great. I'm glad to be here. Yeah.
And so good to have you here today. You are the chairman of the 29th Annual Lions Seafood Festival?
Yes, it's been 29 years.
29 glorious years of seafood, and you're the chairman, and that is put on, again, we should mention, the St. Augustine Lions Club.
Correct, St. Augustine Lions Club.
Before we get into the festival, which has evolved and grown over so many, now decades, tell us a little bit about the Lions Club. I think of the Lions, I think of these things right here.
That's what we're known for,
Tell us about that.
Well, the Lions Clubs in general are actually the world's largest service organization. We're in over 200 countries and territories around the world, including Iraq and China.
Wow.
With about 1.4 million members. Locally, the St. Augustine Lions Club has been here since 1947, so we're in our 63rd, this month in fact, 63rd year of service to the community.
Gracious.
And what people really know us for is working with the visually impaired or blind, both. However, like any service organization, we can do anything we see a need for in the community. Whatever the awareness that comes up, we can address it.
And the Lions Club of St. Augustine just so happens to be in the town with the Florida School of the Deaf and Blind. So that's
absolutely,
that's a good connection, isn't it?
Yes, we do. In fact, in our organization, which, by the way, we have a small club, just over 30 members, of which about 20 are active. We make a joke that we probably have the highest average age of any service organization in St. Augustine. We have several members that are in 90s and 80s.
Really?
And up until recently, some of the 90-year-olds still come to meetings on a regular basis. But in our club, we have two members who work for the Florida School for the Deaf and Blind. They're both deaf, and they have hearing dogs, like, seeing eye dogs.
No.
But they have dogs that are trained to assist them with sounds, such as a doorbell ringing or the sound of something that's not healthy in the house to wake them. Like, they know how to recognize the fire alarm going off.
Wow.
Yeah. And so they bring them to meetings. And
I had no idea. I didn't realize service dogs worked with the hearing.
Absolutely. In fact, they now have service dogs for epileptics and diabetics.
Wow. And you guys do so much also with sending kids to camps.
Absolutely.
Like what?
Well, there's special camps for visually handicapped children, and there's a really cool one. It's run by the State of Florida Lions organization, where a sibling, a hearing or seeing sibling who could normally go to, say, a regular camp, will go to camp with their brother or sister that's got some type of handicap so that they feel comfortable while they're there. And so what we'll do is we'll underwrite that. Somebody typically from the School for the Deaf and Blind or other local agency will call us and say, I got these kids and we'd like to send them to camp, and will you guys pick up the tab? And it's really cool. And they give tours, so, you can always go down there and see what's going on.
I think the one thing for me that's touching that the Lions Club does is make sure that kids who might come from a background where there is financial hardship, they can get eye exams and eyeglasses, and that can change their lives in school.
I don't know if you realize, but the St. Augustine Lions Club screens every fifth grader in St. Johns County in public, private, or homeschool every single year as a courtesy to the school board, St. Johns County School Board.
Wow.
We go into every single school. We start in October. We finish in March. We do it typically once a week, and then if we find a student who doesn't pass, they get what they call a referral letter that says your student didn't pass. Please have it followed up by professionals, and if there are any financial needs, please contact their counselor, and we typically pick up the cost of the examination, the eyeglasses, and in many cases we found children that actually need surgeries.
Wow.
And through our organization, through negotiations and all, we can get a $20,000 eye operation done for, say, $2,000.
Goodness gracious. So that's something, these are people, kids who would have fallen through the cracks years ago and would have maybe not even made a successful run at school, turn their lives around.
It has made a huge difference. In fact, my son, who's a senior in high school, his little buddy was found by the Lions Club to need glasses in the 5th grade.
Wow.
So even right personally in my own life, I've seen it work.
That's got to be intensely gratifying.
Absolutely.
So the 29th Annual Seafood Festival, is that a way that the Lions Club helps to raise funds and awareness? How is that?
I have to tell you, awareness and funds, we have gotten, to pat ourselves on the back a little bit, so successful with the event. It's the only fundraiser we do the entire year.
That's terrific.
And last year we were able to raise just shy of $80,000 for charity.
Wow. Well, that's what we want to talk about, is some of the great things, because it's a great time, a great weekend.
Right.
People have a wonderful time. Now, you have, if I understand this year, famous food contestant winners.
Yeah.
What is that? Tell us about that.
Well, people are proud of their accomplishments.
Right.
And we bring in food vendors. We try to have a very large variety of seafood.
Right.
We don't want everybody to say, well, it's the same old fried seafood.
Right.
So we look for people who may do grilled, who may do blackened, we have Cajun. And so when you're doing your research and you're looking for these vendors, you run into these guys who tell you about their credentials. And we've managed to snag a few really cool ones. The Laughing Crab Company out of Havre de Grace, Maryland.
Really?
Will be here, yep. And he's won awards all over the United States for seafood and crab cakes.
Maryland crab cakes are world famous.
That's right. But you know who else we have? Are you familiar with Pierce Lake?
I've heard.
Mr. Lake?
Yeah.
Pierce likes crab cakes. He's originally a native of Maryland. And every year for so many years, he wins that St. Augustine Best of contest.
Right.
So he'll be there with his crab cakes. There's actually going to be a crab cake contest. We'll have chefs from the culinary school partnered with a few lay people.
Wow.
One of which is a local politician who's running for office. And they'll do some taste testing, and we'll give away some awards for best crab cakes, best shrimp, best chowder, best overall.
Wow.
And then we do People's Choice. Now, you want to know how we judge the People's Choice Award?
How?
We look at the lines. Who's got the longest line? And that's who gets People's Choice Award.
That's simple enough.
Yeah.
Oh, man, my mouth is watering just talking about it. Any things like chowders or soups or anything?
Absolutely. Tony's famous from Cedar Key, Florida. He has won every chowder contest in the Southeast United States. He'll be here this year, and you can get it cups, bowls, even gallons.
Yeah.
He'll mail it to you.
My mouth is watering, really. Honestly, I love seafood growing up here in St. Augustine.
Well, my favorite, I'm a squid or calamari freak. And we have several people doing that this year.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's my personal favorite.
Calamat. That's terrific. Dominic Mercurio, thank you. And you're the chairman of the 29th Seafood Festival. Now, here's what I wanted to ask you about, the musical acts. Right. You got a great lineup. You've had them year in and year out, and you go for a specific type of music. Tell us about that.
We tried to specialize in what we would call progressive bluegrass, folk, little rockabilly, old-time country.
Nice.
We have some great local musicians like Catherine Archer, who I know records right here in this studio.
Right.
Who's just the nicest lady in the world. We have this wonderful group out of Jacksonville that's all students. They have to leave when they're 18, called Coastal Blue. And they almost steal the show every year. We rebook them every year.
Really?
And almost every year they upstage even the headliners. And then, of course, our headliner this year is actually Grammy nominated. Her name is Valerie Smith.
Oh, yeah.
And she was nominated for her work on the album Oh Brother, Where Art They? She worked with Ralph Stanley and on the Ralph Stanley Project.
Oh, yeah.
And in the past, we've had Grammy winner Marty Raybon from Shenandoah. We've had the Lonesome River Band. So it's very family friendly.
Yeah, very unique niche with the music and seafood. Yeah. Those two blend together nicely.
Yes, they do. And we almost stumbled on it by accident, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes things happen for a reason.
Yeah. That's fantastic. So what are the dates of the festival?
They'll be March 12th through 14th, which is the second weekend in March, which is our traditional weekend. We open the event at 3 o'clock on Friday, running to 9 p.m.
Oh.
And on Saturday, we're from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. And on Sunday, we're from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
And I hear you're going to also have professional sound taken care of.
Yes.
Some outfit.
Every year we seek out the very best, and this year our own Eclipse Recording Studios, Jim, is doing the sound. We heard his work at a couple other events.
Oh, sure.
And I have to say, it was noticeably better than some other stuff that I've seen done.
Oh, sure. Yeah, he's a stalwart with the Gamble Rogers Festival,
Yes, he is.
and puts together some great recordings for people to enjoy it for a long time
afterwards.
In fact,
a couple of our musicians this year, Lonesome Burt records here, and they all speak very highly of Jim.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. And so do we. He's a great host to us here on Airborne. Dominic, what do you find gratifying about this? Why go to all this trouble?
Well, personally,
Yeah.
That's the way I was raised. I was raised by people who believe you always put a helping hand out to someone. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to fulfill that need by being in an organization like the Lions Club. And they had this event, which had started 29 years ago. And this is actually my 12th year as chairman and producer of the event. Mm. And they said, let's do it. And I really do. I enjoy it because it's a challenge. I'm a little bit of a entrepreneur at heart.
Mm-hmm.
Locally have a business here for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's sort of the personal challenge is
Right.
can I make it happen?
Yeah.
And then when it's happening, you see all these people having a good time, and then the results are, money raised to help those who are less fortunate.
Tremendous. One last time, if folks want to learn more, how can they find out about the event?
Well, we have a great website, which is hosted by our neighbors next door here, Old City Web Services, and it's lionsfestival.com.
Simple enough.
Yeah, can you imagine that? I thought the Lion King would beat us to that.
Yeah, lionsfestival.com.
Yeah.
Good gracious. Dominic Mercurio, the chairman of the 29th Annual St. Augustine Lions Seafood Festival. Thank you for coming in and getting airborne.
Welcome,
with us.
and one last thing I'd like to say, it's been presented and partially underwritten by Winn-Dixie Stores.
Well, terrific. Those folks
I
are
promised her she'd get her plug today.
We've got it then, and we really appreciate you coming in and telling us about it. My mouth is watering.
All right, well, we'll see you there.
I'm not kidding. I'm salivating.
All right, we have our own little slogan we wrote, and it's called We're Having Fun Now. So we'll see you there.
All right, we'll see you there as well. Dominic Mercurio from the St. Augustine Lions Club. You've been airborne with Matt Jeffs on staugustine.com, bringing interesting people from your world so you can stay dialed into your community and the folks who make it tick. See you next time, everybody.